Hello friends! I am back today with another video about our curriculum that we are going to use for this upcoming homeschool year. If you're new here, my name is Shannon and I am a mom of 8 kids. I have been homeschooling for, I think this is our 16th year of homeschooling. And my oldest daughter is graduated, she's married, she lives in a different state, so I've got 7 kids still at home. And they range in ages from 17 all the way down to 7. So we've got several grades. I have a senior, a 10th grader, 8th grader, 7th grader, 6th grader, 4th grader, and 2nd grader. And so this year we are going to completely switch up what we've been doing for our homeschool. We're going to be trying something new and see how it goes. The last 3 years, we have been part of a homeschool co-op. The co-op would meet on Thursday afternoons, and the middle school grades, the high school grades would have 2 classes, and then the little kids in the elementary grades would have 3 classes. This year, we are not going to participate in co-op. I have decided that I need to spend my time at home during those school days, and that the co-op, while it was fun, it was beneficial for some of my older kids. I think my time and our time is better spent here at home. And so we are going to skip co-op for this year, and we're going to see how that goes. But we're also switching things up because in the past, I have had my older kids work independently. And this year we are going to change that. We are going to be using Gather Round as our main spine for our homeschooling this year. That means that all of my kids, except for my senior, because he's a little bit of an exception, which I will tell you about in just a minute, the rest of the kids are going to be with me doing school. We're going to do our Gather Round unit, and then our older kids may have a little bit of independent work to do outside of that, and then everyone will have math also. So I do have a few extra things that I'm adding into some of the kids' schoolwork depending on their needs and what would benefit them and be helpful for them. But for the most part, we're doing Gather Round for everything except for math. For math, we're going to be using CTC Math. We love CTC Math. We've been using it now for 2 years. I think this will be our 3rd year using it. I got to the point where I could not keep up with grading math books, and decided that we needed to just switch to something online that made it easier for me to keep track of how the kids were doing in their math. It grades it for me. It keeps track of all the grades. So I don't have to do that part. So I just get online. I can check to see how they're doing. I can help them when they need help. But besides me helping them every once in a while, they're very independent with their math. And that makes me happy because it's one less thing that I have to do. Before we used CTC Math, we used Math Lessons for a Living Education. And I love Math Lessons for a Living Education. I probably will always love Math Lessons for a Living Education. It was a huge game changer in our homeschool when I had so many little kids. It took our days of math from being full of tears, constantly frustration, crying, irritation, to peaceful days with no crying, able to complete our math without getting irritated or frustrated. And it was just a huge blessing. But I did eventually get to the point, I just had too many kids, too many workbooks. I couldn't keep up with all of them, and so math was something that we decided to put online, and I'm really thankful that we did because it has been great for our family. Okay, so let me start with what we're going to be doing for a little bit of a morning time. This is something I'm adding in just because there are a few other books that I want to read with my children, and I don't just want to give them to read. I would like to read them with them so that we can discuss them, we can answer questions, I can clarify things if they need help with that. For our morning time, I'm going to include all of the kids in this, so even my 2nd grader will sit down with us and he will listen through as we're reading these things and discussing them. We are going to be reading Introduction to Logic from Master Books. We're going to use this kind of as a read aloud, but then I've also got the teacher's guide printed off, and I'm going to use this as a discussion guide. So what will happen is we will read the chapter out of here, and then I will just briefly flip through this book, and we will discuss different questions, different keywords, different topics. I might end up having my older kids, probably my 8th grader and my 10th grader, create maybe a vocabulary notebook where they will keep track of these keywords and their definitions, and that just helps them to keep those things in their brains a little bit better. And I may not do that. We will see how our day goes and how much time we have, but this is just something I really wanted to do with my older kids for sure, but I want to discuss it with them. So we are going to include this in our morning time on Monday mornings. This will be our Monday morning time, along with our read-alouds. For morning time, I'm keeping it real simple. We're not adding a ton of things. So Monday will be logic book. Tuesday, we are going to do a read-aloud, and we are also going to watch one episode of the Road Trip to Truth series. This is available on the Fortis Plus app for free. You can have all 4 series are free. We have the first 2 series on DVD. So we will be watching through one episode a week of those. Also just discussion time, being able to talk about things and to help them a little bit with their biblical worldview. So that's what we're doing Tuesday mornings. On Wednesdays and on Thursdays, we are going to start reading through these Tuttle Twins books. I've had these books for a couple years and we've read a couple of them, but we have not read all of these. And I really want to dig into these. So we're going to start with book 1. Even my older kids, I've been asking ChatGPT to help me come up with some kind of way that I can beef these up to create a high school level course for my older kids. So they're going to be doing some extra work with these, but I kind of think what we're going to do is read through them. We're going to discuss. It's going to be quite a bit because these are pretty good wordy books. There are a lot of words in these books. Let's see if I can get my camera to focus on the book and not on me. There are a lot of words in these books. And then at the back of the book, there's a glossary of terms. There's also some discussion questions. They do have an activity workbook. It's directed more towards younger kids and it's cost extra money. I'm not going to do that. But what we'll do is read our book. We'll do it over 2 days, probably over Wednesday and Thursday. Read through the glossary of terms, discuss the questions, and then I'm considering I will probably have my older kids for sure make a notebooking page of each book. They can draw pictures, they can write me a paragraph of what they learned summarizing this book, along with maybe some other things that I haven't quite put all together yet, but I'm just looking for ways to beef this up a bit to make it count as part of a credit towards a like civics class. So that's something else we're doing in our morning time. So that is our basic morning time ideas. I do have a few of our read-alouds picked out already, and these will go with some of our gather round units that we're doing. They may not be at exactly the same time that we are doing that unit, but we're going to read through these. We'll probably alternate. We'll do one of these, do another book, do one of these, another book. Throughout the year. So these are the Christian Heroes Then and Now books. We have several of these that we have yet to read. So I thought this would be a good year to get some of these out. First 2 are both from Asia. They both are actually from China. And then the last 2 are from Africa. And that's because this year we're planning to do the Africa and the Asia units from Gather Round. So we've got, for Asia, we'll have Jonathan Goforth and Isabel Kuhn. And then for Africa, we have C.T. Studd as well as Roland Bingham. So we'll read through these at some point this year to kind of go along with our units. And then I will tell you what units we are doing. I do not have them all printed because I might change my mind. That is something that drew me to Gather Round. I have had a very hard time in the past getting through an entire curriculum for a year because I don't necessarily want to keep reading the same book for the whole year. So something that drew me to Gather Round was the option of being able to pick and mix and match what I want to be teaching the kids or what they are interested in at that time. So we do have our first unit. We know for sure what we're doing. I've got it all printed out. First unit we are going to do is reptiles. So this is my little guy's notebook, early reader, reptiles. The way that this will work is each kid has a workbook on their own level. And then I have the teacher's guide on my computer. I don't print it because what I like to do is screen share it to our TV. And then we sit in the living room while I read the teacher's guide and the kids can look at the TV. They can see the pictures of the teacher's guide. They can answer the questions in their workbooks as they're listening to me read. So along with the workbook, in this part here, I've got the appendix, which is just any cutouts or anything. I also printed off the seat work for all of them. And this is basically kind of like it helps with the language arts portion of these units. A lot of handwriting and copy work. All of my kids will be doing cursive this year. So even Clayton will begin with some cursive practice. But this is just spelling, handwriting, a little bit of grammar, punctuation, that kind of stuff. And then for my little guy, because he is still learning to read, he is also going to be using Ready to Read, and we're going to start with book 1, and this is from Gather Round Homeschool. And he will have 4 books that he will work through with this, and I just printed off because the Ready to Read is basically an entire curriculum on its own. I just printed off the phonics page and the language arts pages for him so that we can use them for learning to read. So that's what he's going to be doing. This is the first book, Burrows and Holes, and then I've got the other ones printed and ready to go when he finishes this one. All right, my 4th grader, she reads very well all on her own, so she doesn't have any extra reading curriculum. She'll probably pick some books to read, which is usually what I have them do. I'm not real strict with that. But my 6th grader is still a struggling reader. He's still learning, and I imagine that within the next year or so it's going to click for him and he'll really take off. But so far that has not been the case. So what we're going to do is continue on with the basics. This is what we've been doing for the last 5 years. We've done the same phonics over and over and over. He has very slowly made progress, but I'm hoping, because his older brother did this, that within the next 1 or 2 years, it's going to click for him and he will take off with his reading. So I still am undecided. I'm either going to do Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons with him, or I'm going to continue on with the Good and the Beautiful Level K course book. This is what he did last year for quite a while, and he actually was doing really well with it. So he will either continue on with this, which I don't have the entire thing printed, so he may not. We may just do this Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons, and he can start where it is not too easy for him and then progress through the book that way. I know that I have used that a couple years ago with him, and it worked very well that year. He really improved quite a bit. So I think maybe that's what I'm gonna go with. There's not a lot of bells and whistles with it. It's very simple. And then along with Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons, he is going to continue reading through the McGuffey Readers. This one is the Pictorial Eclectic Primer. Pretty simple reading, not really complicated. But it's a very good start for him, especially being off of reading for the entire summer. This will be really good for him as he picks up and gets back into it. So he's going to continue to read this. Probably will maybe have my littlest guy also read through this book depending on what he's got in the Ready to Read, because I haven't really looked through that a lot, so I don't know how much practice there is. But that's one thing that I have learned, is that most of these curriculums don't have a lot of practice in the book. They're expecting you to practice outside of the book, and so that's what we're using this for. All right, something else that my 2 youngest boys are using, 6th grade and 2nd grade. My 2nd grader, because he's still learning to read. My 6th grader, because he is still a struggling reader. I think he's pretty sure he's got dyslexia. And so they are both going to be using dyslexia games. So Kendon, my 6th grader, he used this last year. I have no idea what level he used. I cannot remember. But he's going to use level B this year. This is for Clayton, and I'm just printing these because I've got the dyslexia games on PDF, and then I will bind this into something for him, either a big spiral bind or like a 3-ring binder. But these are just to help with reading and reading comprehension, and they are fun games. They're not difficult to do. And then back here there's some word search pages, but these are something else that I'm going to add into their language arts just as something they can do independently that will be helpful for their little brains. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the Gather Round units that we're using. I know the first unit we're using is reptiles. The second unit we're going to do is Africa, and that I'm set on because I'm going to start printing it. So I need to be set on it before I use up all my pages printing it. Then I have planned after that Unsolved Mysteries. The next one after that is the Human Body. And then we have Asia, Botany, and Entrepreneurship. And then I've got one spot left open because I'm not sure what we're going to do with that. I haven't decided yet if We will continue on at Christmas time with our Christmas unit that we didn't complete last year, which is something I'm very heavily considering because we all really enjoyed that. I would need to print pages for my older kids, but that would be simple to do. Or we will just do our regular schooling at Christmas time, and at the end of the year, we'll add on something fun that the kids want to do. So my dilemma with this unit study curriculum that I didn't realize I was going to have until I already purchased the Legacy Pass, which means I can use any of their units. I have access to all of them. And my plan doing that was to continue using this for the rest of our homeschool. I will just add these in, or we will use it as our main curriculum like we are this year. But my one dilemma that I've had is figuring out credits for my high school students. I know how to figure out the credits. I know how much each unit would be for, but what I'm realizing is I don't know if I have enough time in the year to get all the units in needed for the credits that I want my high schoolers to have. Now, I live in a state that I can choose what courses, how many credits my student needs to graduate. And so that's basically what I've done. And so to make that fit, if you haven't seen my high school transcript video, you can go watch it here. But to make this unit studies fit into there has been a little bit of a challenge. If we complete the units that I named off, reptiles, Africa, unsolved mysteries, human body, Asia, botany, and entrepreneurship, plus one more, my high schooler will have earned a lot of credits. Zoology, world geography, 2/3 of a credit in art, 1/3 of a credit in intro to forensic science, 1 English credit, 1 math credit, a biblical worldview credit, an intro to logic credit, a PE credit because he will be playing sports, and a biology credit. So I can get all of those credits out of these units that I have picked for my students. So that will fulfill, he will be done with his science at the end of this year, and then he will have several elective credits plus his English credit, his math credit, a world geography credit. And that'll be perfect for him for this year. So I'm not too worried about that now the way I've got these laid out. I think that these units will be interesting and they will help him get the credits that he needs, which will be really good. And we're studying some things that we haven't studied before that I think my kids will enjoy. For my older kids, my 8th grader and my 10th grader, I'm considering having my 8th grader do most of this work at high school level so that she can earn some credits. I haven't talked to her about that yet, but I will. It's an option for her if she wants to do it. If she doesn't, that is totally fine. But one of the things I'm adding in to the Asia and Africa units, so the way that I have learned to space these units out per credit is that each unit is about 1/3 of a credit. So in order for my high schooler to get a full credit in world geography, he would need to do 3 units. But this year we're only doing 2, and I'm counting them as a full unit because I'm adding to that. So one of the things that we are adding is these 2 books. This is Taking Africa for Jesus and Taking Asia for Jesus. I'm going to have him read through portions of this book over. He can't quite get a whole chapter in a day because there's a little bit more chapters than days that we will have. But I'm going to pick and choose so that he will have completed most of these books over the month of time that we do the units on these 2 countries. So that is one thing I'm adding in to beef up his curriculum a little bit. And then my plan for that is to use Gather Round in full. I want to use everything that they have available, everything that is required, everything that is even an optional activity. I want my kids to do it if they can, if it is feasible for us. So I'm going to try to include all of that, which means we'll be writing papers, doing science experiments, all of those things. But I think it's going to be really good, and that will help to really round out our school year with Gather Round. So on top of all of this curriculum, we will be doing sports. I have several kids who will be playing basketball this year. I've got 2 high schoolers, a middle schooler, well, 2 middle schoolers, and an elementary aged kid playing basketball. So that will keep us plenty busy. We will get plenty of socialization with that. And they also earn the high schoolers a PE credit and good exercise for all of them. So we'll be busy with doing basketball for the year. Our basketball season runs from about October to March. So it's a pretty long and busy, and it is a lot, but it is so much fun and we all enjoy it. By the end of the season, my husband and I are both thinking, why did we do this to ourselves? We are so tired of this. It needs to be over. But by the time the next season rolls around, we both are excited and ready to get it started. So basketball is one of the things we will be doing. We attend church Wednesday night, Sunday mornings, Sunday school, Sunday evening. And so that also counts as part of my children's schooling. They spend several hours a week working through Bible curriculum material and taking notes and listening and doing narration and all of those things that we do in our homeschool that people don't usually count for church. But we are intentional with our children's time at church, and they all take notes. We have discussion when we get home after we eat dinner, talking about the sermon, what their notes were, any questions they have, anything like that. And then on Wednesday evenings, my older kids who are in youth group are working through a catechism book where they are memorizing catechism questions and answers, and they are memorizing scripture. So they do that, and my little kids also do the same thing, just a different book. So the books that they use for that are these Truth and Grace books. We have Truth and Grace Level 1. This is for the younger elementary age kids. And Truth and Grace Level 2. This is for the ones that the older kids are using. So their teacher assigns a question. He assigns a memory verse, and then he also teaches on whatever it is that they are memorizing. So does that, and we have the same thing with the little kids, goes the same way. These books will probably be part of our morning time as well. The older kids will work on these on their own, and then I quiz them. And the younger kids, we work together, and they work on memorizing their question and answer and their memory verse. So that is something else that we will be adding in, including as part of our homeschool, even though it's not necessarily during homeschool hours. I do include or count our time at church as part of their hours of homeschooling every week. Along with this, my oldest son has a job. His job is mainly in the summertime, but he works very hard at it. It is a mowing business, and so he does a lot of mowing for some customers. I think he's got 2 customers right now, but that equals out to 5 properties. And so that keeps him busy, and he has to communicate with them. He has to keep up with making sure he gets paid. He has to maintenance any of the equipment that he uses. He's been using our riding lawnmower, which he has to rent from us because he doesn't own one. And so he rents that. If it breaks, he has to fix it, and he has been doing that all summer. So that also is included as part of his homeschooling curriculum. He is getting a credit in, that's one I didn't write down, entrepreneurship, because of doing that all summer and the hours that he has spent doing that. And then we're planning to do the entrepreneurship unit study towards the end of the year for him. So that is another credit that I can add on to his transcript for this year, just because of him having this job all summer and all of the things that he has had to do, advertising and getting business and reaching out to people and keeping in contact with his clients and asking them when they need his services and going over to do them and maintaining the equipment and getting paid and managing his money, and all of those things are part of entrepreneurship, building a business. So that is something else that will go on his transcript for this year. Okay, so I said that we would discuss my oldest son. I have talked a bit about his curriculum. We assigned him at the beginning of his junior year what he needed to complete to graduate. He came to us and said, I would like to graduate early. What do I need to do? And his daddy and I sat down and we discussed it. We came up with what we wanted, what was our requirements of him, and we gave him that. So he has been slowly working on those. He's not completed yet, but I think if he stays motivated, he could get done by December. So he is close. He's done with most of what his dad assigned him. I think he's got a couple of books, like 2 books left, maybe just 1 book left, that he's got to read through and write a paper on. And he's got the rest of his church history to finish. He did not complete that last year, and he's been working on that. I've got a stack of papers in there I need to get graded. He does still need to do some math. He's not complete with his math yet. And he's got a couple other things on his list. I can't remember what they are right now off the top of my head, but for the most part, he is wrapping it up. He hopefully will be finished by December. If not, he for sure will be finished by the end of this year. And then along with what he's got to finish for that, he works 5 days a week. He works from 10 to 2. And he also is planning to play basketball. And then as well as serving at church. And just helping around the house and doing general things like that. So if you're interested in seeing what he is doing for his last years of high school and what we are requiring of him, I do have a video about that. I'll put a little card for it right here and you can go watch that and check it out. It is not a typical senior year homeschooling curriculum, and people have given me a lot of flack about that, but it's okay, I don't care. We're going to do what is working for our family and what will benefit him the most, and what we've given him is what will benefit him the most. He's completed all of the academic portion except for his math and his church history that I was requiring of him. He has done all of those. So what we gave him mostly is a lot more life applicable books that he can learn from on how to be a godly man, how to lead well, how to manage his money, how to be a servant in the church, all of those kind of things. So that is more of the things that he is learning last year and this year. But church, he's got a bit of the church history still, some discernment, some biblical worldview, that kind of stuff is what he's been working on mainly for the last year, and then he'll continue that into next year. Okay, that is all of my curriculum for the upcoming school year for my 7 kids at home. I hope you enjoyed seeing it. I hope it wasn't too scatterbrained. It's kind of hard to show everything when I don't have it all printed, but Gather Round is the base of our curriculum this year, and then we are adding to it the books that I showed you. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments, and I will see you all on the next video. Bye-bye.